This is week 3 on the research sabbatical. This week I've been just focusing on getting all my models finished. So there's a total of 14 or 15 models, and I've actually got about 3 or 4 of these models already UV mapped. I think this one that we're looking at right now is UV mapped. So learning all the new tool sets in Maya for UV mapping. This is a form that's going to be underneath where you stand, kind of looking down. You'll be able to see a little bit of that. Again, a little bit of UV mapping you saw there for a millisecond. So what I wanted to show is a couple of the drawings. This is the drawing that you saw there before. These were done almost a year and a half ago at spring break. So it's about 3 or 4 days of meditation, and in meditation just slowly having some students help out with modeling. A lot of them have been revamped. Some have been redone from scratch. I think this one's from scratch. So very, very simple models. I can kind of see where they're going. A lot of this stuff is bent over to the left, and on the right are probably the ones that will be used. And then using IK chain or a skeleton, these will be animated. Again, they're very, very simple forms, but I'll be using a substance painter to really scuff them up and add a whole bunch of textures. Think about jellyfish forms and translucent materials. So I'm excited about that. I've been doing a lot of tutorials in Substance and Substance Designer. Substance Designer I'm really excited about too. Hopefully when you touch these forms, all these forms that you see right here forward are going to be modeled. So this would be kind of the size of a 2-liter Coke bottle or something like that. You'll actually be able to touch it, and when you touch certain sections, it'll fire off textures or animations or sound. So this will have a vibe tracker on it, and then 1 or 2 people behind it to kind of animating it, handing it off to the person viewing this in virtual reality. See all the different layers to it. So this is another form that's going to be handmade. Again, this was done by a student. Almost there, but wanted to take it and keep modeling and pushing it further. I think this was before feedback, so this is good to get some base material. And again, you can see how it's a little bit different. Again, I could imagine being handed those drawings and expecting to model. I'm sure it would be a challenge. So this is the final. Again, these haven't been UV mapped, but working on the UV mapping this week, the 4th and 5th week, hopefully have everything UV mapped, and then textured by 5th week. So we can start animating, get these into Unreal. You can see kind of the fingers there, kind of transparent, so you can see where I'm wanting to go with this and Substance. These are little forms that I think this is the first one that I'm actually going to take downstairs here and the university and CNC. It's kind of like a fin paddle. So I'm going to CNC it out and really start experimenting with the vibe tracker and make sure surface different parts of this are touchable. With the vibe tracker, it has pens, so I could send out a signal, true or false, so that will be able to trigger off either sound or some sort of textural event. Another form based on a drawing. Again, these that form is going to be thousands of them. You can see the drawing is kind of shown everywhere, so used a lot. this is kind of probably the last form. I'm actually wanting to make this and maybe even do some animatronics with it in physical form, and also be able to see it in VR, so you'll be able to touch it. This one was done by a student. I think Hannah worked on this. Several other students worked on it, so it has a little bit of texture, but needs to be pushed a little bit further. Again, you can see some of the ideas of the movements of these. A lot of these are static right now, but you can kind of see what this could look like. So again, this is a form I went back into. The base mesh was pretty good. Went back and remodeled. So there's a couple layers of transparencies. Again, this was handed off to a student with no advice, and so they did pretty well, but I wanted to just beef it up a little bit further. So this one's going to be an interesting build. A little bit of laser cutting, 3D printing to CNC to get these forms. Again, this one's pretty complicated because I really want to push animatronics with it, so maybe having 2 or 3 people behind it, kind of like a puppeteer to help animate it. I was thinking about doing animatronics, but I think just doing some simple puppetry would be interesting. This is for the base where you're standing. This is kind of keeps you in the center of the VR environment. So the first things that I drew, and again, this is given to a student, and push a little bit further. I'm not sure how that one UV mapped out. That one came out really weird in the UV mapping. And you can see how this is going to stack up. This is a smaller one, and then behind it are the taller, bigger guys. So again, those are going to be rigged, and so they're going to kind of be swaying, kind of like in the breeze. So this is the larger guy. Again, a little bit of cleanup from the original one. I think student Hui did this one. Again, clean up. Just make sure all the geometry was good. But again, helped save a lot of time by getting some of the base structure finished. So I think the last two have been UV mapped. Again, I have no idea the quality of the UV mapping, but these will start going into substance and start working with the transparencies and some ideas of textures. Been looking at a lot of like at Nike shoes and the way they use textures. Just walking around looking at textures around here in Wellington for some inspiration. So there's just multiple layers on this, so hopefully we'll be able to bake in some higher level geometry with this normal map. And so start to see here some of the UV mapping. Again, don't laugh, they're probably bad UV mapping, I don't know. A lot of transferring of maps on the teeth that you saw there. So I got to juggle how many maps I want on this. Try to squeeze it down to maybe 2 or 3. So I need to combine all those. These are actually the forms that you will step on the floor that will trigger off the event. These will have sensors on them. So when you step on it, the 3D forms will kind of levitate from the floor up. So you'll be able to interact with them and then throw them up into the air or push them off into space. These are forms that I came from a drawing, again, these are going to be kind of tumbling in the air, kind of like big weather balloons, kind of a circular formation. Maybe like 10, 20, 30 of these kind of bouncing around. Again, I really want to work with a Substance Painter, Substance Designer with this, so it's just not a static texture, but it's moving, animated with the textures. So this is the dome, kind of be standing in the center of this dome. So this will be multiple layers of surface here. So this is the back surface. In front of that, there'll be a layer also, again, using Substance Painter to layer that. And also be able to use this form multiple times in Unreal, snap it together so it's not a whole bunch of geometry. And hopefully take this into Substance, really rough it up. This is a floor design, not finished, but kind of concept right now. Not sure where to go with the floor, but this is where it's at right now. I have a feeling the floor will be something like Substance Designer, where it's just kind of a procedurally done. I don't think this hand modeling for the floor is going to be convenient. So here's a real quick mock-up of the space of the current models. So you can see these forms will completely be around you, probably about chest to knee high. Again, hopefully camera will dissolve the background. Hopefully have a point of focus is more in the center. You can see how those forms will be tumbling around. Hopefully have colliders so they'll interact with each other. So that's about where we are at. There's about 4 or 5 models missing out of that video, but this is going back to the original concept, the proposal that I sent out. This is, imagine this form modeled out. A couple animators, not animators, but puppeteers behind it holding it, and then a person interacting with the form as they step onto the form below. So that's where I'm at right now, and hopefully I'll give you an update on the 4th and maybe 5th week. I think 2 weeks is more appropriate. It gives me enough time to give you enough material to show you where I'm at.